Three, two, one. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hammered. I'm your host, Mike Bird, and hey, thanks for checking us out today. On this episode, I'd like to welcome a leader in the coaching and fitness world, online media and marketing, and entrepreneurship, Mr. Anders Varner. What's up, my man?
How are we doing? Such a good intro. I love that.
Oh, thanks, man. You know, I sat here and practiced it at least 30 times.
I love it. It's great.
So you're here in Apex, North Carolina.
I am.
Awesome.
I'm like 2 years, been here almost 2 years, maybe exactly 2 years now. Something like that.
Yeah.
I lived in, was in San Diego for a decade and had a baby and had to come back home.
Oh,
Get
so
close to mom. I need some help.
From North Carolina, huh? Or
Virginia Beach. So, right.
Okay.
Pretty close.
Okay. Well, you know, my listeners might not be familiar with you, Anders. So you want to give like a brief bio, what you're about?
I am, man, I've just been in the fitness space my whole life, whether training for athletics through high school. I started training when I was 13 years old. I was shipping out to boarding school to go play ice hockey. I left home at 14. This is as close as I've lived to home since I was 14 years old. So that's kind of cool. And along the way, just once you take that initial leap and set a course for your life, things get really weird and exciting, I guess. So 14 to 18, I played ice hockey in Massachusetts at a boarding school. Found out I was 5'8", 190 pounds, and that's not big enough to play college sports. So went to regular college, James Madison, drank a lot, hung out a lot, sort of went to school, did what I was supposed to do because of my high school was very challenging. So once I got to college, that was actually like the easy part, was going to school and doing relatively well. Just high school prepared me so well. And then, I kind of just got out of school and was the only thing that like really continued, that was like a major player in my life was training hard with my friends. And as soon as I graduated college, this CrossFit thing kind of popped up in my life, which really set the course for the next 12 years of training. I found CrossFit in like 2006. And then I opened a gym in 2010 in San Diego after I got my MBA. And then we ran the gym for 6 years, sold it. 2016, did relatively well, turned it into a 7-figure business, which is pretty great. And then
I'd say, yeah,
and then we, I trained with some celebrities and well-known people. And once that was done, started an online business. So I really wanted to get into the online space. Once I didn't have the brick and mortar facility anymore, I realized that like I could be anywhere in the world that I wanted to be. And family was becoming a real conversation between my wife and I. So I was probably going to need to get closer to home. So started an online business in the rehab space, sold that a year and a half after we started it. It was relatively successful for my first online business. And now I own a company called Barbell Shrugged. I'm the second CEO of that company. It's pretty much the pioneers of podcasting for the strength conditioning space. They started the first one in 2012, I want to say. So over the years, 45 million downloads, and we've had a really good, successful stint. It's really a fitness media and marketing company. Like we train and coach a lot of people, and at the same time, we have a good time. It's surrounding ourselves with the people we want to be around and learn from. And the barbell has been like the biggest player in my life and brought me everything that I could ever imagine over the last 24 years.
Yeah. So like Barbell Shrugged, man, You guys are at 540 plus episodes since what, 2018?
Yeah, we put out 2 episodes a week. So the shows, a lot's changed in podcasting in that when in 2012, nobody really knew nobody had ever been on a podcast.
Yeah.
So as it grows, the goal is to find these like amazing coaches and bring them on the show so that they can spread the information and everybody can learn from them. And it makes you the big connector in the space. But now, I mean, we're not even in the same room. We're recording this. We can put podcasts out. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's learned about the power of podcasting. I have a podcast with my 2-year-old, which she just rambles into the microphone, and it's just so easy in that we can all just record Zoom calls and post them for other people. So what has changed in the space and why and what we're all kind of going through is like what people really want is a relationship with the hosts or the people that they're connecting with and who they're learning from. So on Mondays we put out a show that's really just coaching specific in that we don't have guests. We just have our main crew on. And then on Wednesdays, we still have a guest come on. So the show has taken a ton of, as it's matured and as it's growing and as it's continually adapting to what's going on in the world, specifically in podcasting and the ease at which people can do it now. We have to adapt, and it's cool that we get to go and be a part of literally the beginning to where it is now and kind of try and forge the way in the future of where this medium goes.
I got to tell you, I love it, man. I love sitting down, talking to people. People tell me I can talk for days anyway, man. I can look at a spot on the floor and talk about it like 20 minutes. I actually stole that from a Steve Austin podcast where he was talking about the Miz, but
that's
it
awesome.
definitely describes me.
Well, that's like one of the, one of the really important parts of having a podcast is being able to just keep talking. I think a lot of people start out, they have like here's the first 10 shows I'm going to do. And I'm like, well, we're on like 510 or something like that. Like what happens when you have to do 510 shows? How deep can you go? How many topics are there? Like it's easy to get to 100. It's easy to get to 200. Like 500 is a lot. And to like one of my hardest, the most challenging parts really is like sitting down and figuring out what I want to talk about.
Oh, that
can be exciting because there's a lot of things that you could talk about, but when you're 500 to 700 hours deep into coaching about one thing, you're like, man, we've already done so much. What's next?
How can you even remember what you've done? I mean, the chances of you like doubling up on a show is probably pretty good.
And you end up doubling up on the specific content in those shows. I think it's just an evolution of like where I'm at. Like when I was 13 years old, when I first started training, if I had a podcast, I'd be trying to, if I just how scary it is to go into a gym or what it's like being a beginner and training with all these kids that are so much older than you and stronger than you. And like, they're like men, they're like, they have beards or they're shaving. Like you can tell that they're so much more aggressive and so much more testosterone. And like, then you just get thrust into this thing and you feel insecure. Or, being a senior in high school, if you had a podcast, what would you talk about? You talk about your team, you talk about training for a season, how you train on the in season, how you train in the off season. If I had a podcast when I was in college, it'd be like, how do I do bicep curls on Fridays so I can look better on Saturdays? Like, as now that I'm a dad and now that I am, now that I'm not a competitor, it's a wildly, I may be back squatting every Monday for the rest of my life, but it doesn't mean that it's with the same intent and with the same amount of intensity, or there's an entire story that unfolds in my head when I train of why I'm doing things, how I do things. And that's the part that plays out, and how you can connect with an audience and have fun continually talking about the same stuff, because it is always different. It's always evolving. If it's not evolving, then you're the guy at the bar that's 50 trying to hang out with 20-year-olds, and we all grow. Our audience grows with us, and
Yeah.
that's really like the beauty of being in the game as long as you can be.
Yeah. You know what? And that being said, man, I know you've got your own podcast. You got a nice business going on, which we'll talk about later. And you know, I just want to thank you for taking the time to be on my
Sure.
show.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I got a man like Andrews Varner on my show. I'm going to up my subscribers at least 1,000 today.
There you go.
So you started in CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
There's this stigma between weightlifters and CrossFitters. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the left and the right, the Dems and the Republicans. Why is there such a stigma between weightlifters and CrossFitters? Because I'm Ricky. I'm the Planet Fitness guy where they have the lunk alarm.
Yeah.
Ricky comes in with his tank top on and his gallon water jug and starts dropping weights. That used to be me. I'm too old. I can't do that now.
Totally.
But so what's up, man? Why is there a stigma? I tried CrossFit, but my knees, man, oh
yeah,
so bad.
You know, I think a lot of that stuff, call it 15, 16 years later, is less interesting of a conversation anymore. Like anytime something new shows up, the people that have been doing it the old way are going to throw up the defense because they've got to protect the thing that is important to them, and they find everything that's right and wrong with it. And to their defense, when something new pops up, nobody's figured out the right way to do it yet.
Yeah.
And over time, we all regress to the mean in a manner that the best training methods are the best training methods, and they're the same things that guys and girls have been doing for centuries.
Yeah.
Like I can literally go back to the old physical culture magazines, and people are doing the same stuff that I do in my garage every single day. But there are fun ways, and CrossFit is probably has been the best at it in repackaging the same thing at a specific point in time, which is very important, to a group of people that are very hungry for a specific product that they don't know that they want yet. Yeah. And I was the exact demographic of what that product or who that product was aimed for. I had just finished college. I was training really hard. I wanted to continue training hard, but had no real goals, or like I wanted to be an athlete, but there was nowhere to be an athlete, in that I never saw myself as like weekend softball player or kickball player, or I don't even know what else was out there, but like I'm not an intramural sport person. I don't identify with that at all. I played sports to win and to be competitive and to go find out, like, okay, you've been doing your thing, I've been doing my thing. We're going to go find out whose thing's the best right now. So when CrossFit showed up, I had already been training really, really hard in the gym, lifting as heavy as possible all the time from 14 to 23 years old. And then some guy put up a website that said, do this as heavy as you can, and everyone in the world's going to post their score. I was like, wait a second, there's a leaderboard? You want to see who the best is? Okay, I'll play. And then he'd throw up a workout the next day and go, post your time in the comments. All right, let's go. Like, and then all of a sudden he created a sport called CrossFit. There was also a training methodology, and he put this super simple definition to it. So of course, the majority of people that were talking about strength and conditioning were doing it in either high school sports or college sports, or they were like personal trainers at a 24-hour fitness. So you had these like giant, the NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association, ACSM, it's like Association for, I don't even know, ACSM. I want to say like, there's like 3 or 4 governing bodies. I don't even want to bring them up right now. but there's like 3 or 4 governing bodies that had written all the certifications. And now all of a sudden you got this new one that comes in that says, we're better than you. And we have all these people, including this sport, that shows that our methodology is better than your methodology because your people look like this and our people look like this and they can do this. And if you think your methodology is better than ours, well, we created a game for you to come play, and it's called CrossFit, and we find the best in the world every single year at it.
Have you participated in those? I think you participated in like 4, right? And you finished in like 21 or something like that, or something.
Yeah, that was my so I competed 4 times at like the regional level. So that's basically, ours was all of California and Arizona.
Look, that is some badass competitions.
Yeah, it's cool.
The functional strength you need to participate in those CrossFit games. I watch like these people doing the rope climb and the walking on their hands across the field for 50 yards. Is it 50 yards? It sure.
Yeah, I mean,
might
whatever.
As well
it's
be.
Really whatever they tell you to do.
That is ridiculous, man. You know, I've seen on your Barbell Shrugged website, you got something called Diesel Dad.
Yeah, that's me. Hold on. You can see the poster back there. There it is.
Diesel Dad back there? Oh,
yeah. That's me.
So tell me a little bit about that, man, because that's something that, you know, I mean, pretty much like everybody's a dad now that's in our demographic lifting. So, I mean, hey, what's up with
that? So, you know, this is really just the next transition of aligning my training, aligning my life, aligning my family, and aligning everything towards a specific goal of why I do things. And I can train in any way imaginable given the right amount of time. Like if I didn't have a job, I could sleep longer. I could take naps during the day. I could go to the gym for 2 hours a day. If I didn't have a family, I wouldn't have to be worried about being done at 4:45, so I could be at daycare at 5 o'clock to pick my daughter up. I wouldn't worry about being home by 5:15, so my wife and I could have like a fun afternoon and go for a walk and do all the important family things. And I could sit in the gym as long as I wanted. And there was a time in life where all of that happened. You know, there's the gym and your family and your job and all these stuff. I always just think about like, how are all these things aligned and why are we doing all of them? And the Diesel Dad came out of the fact that I don't have the amount of time that I used to have. I don't have the amount of energy. I don't get the amount of sleep. I don't eat as optimally as I possibly could. And guess what? That's life. I got another one coming in June. I got a 2.5-year-old right now. And I don't want to, thank you. And I don't want to sit in the gym for 60, 90, 120 minutes, just killing myself when the goal, like what would I attain by doing any of that? So you start to look at like, what are the actual important things in your life? And well, you know, at one point in time, it was me training, that number one, because me being an athlete was the most important thing. And then making sure the gym business was going great. And then, you know, after that, you're looking at going out and having fun with your friends. So there's like 3 things. It's like fitness, business, friends, partying, having fun. Well, then your wife shows up and you get married and you go, you know, there isn't that much different than being in a very committed relationship and then being married a week later. You could still very easily just look at your wife and be like, yo, I'm going to go to the beach and go surf for the afternoon. She's like, cool, I'm going to go kick it with my friends. I'll meet you back here for dinner. But when you throw a kid into the mix, fitness all of a sudden goes from like number 1 to number 4. Yeah. There isn't like a slow progression out of it. The kid changes the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, quarantine kicks in last year. And I went from like business and husband and dad to all of a sudden like daycare and juggling meetings and podcasts and business while there's a 2-year-old. And now my mom is living with us 4 days a week. And my training window went to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe.
You have your own setup at your house?
Yeah, you can. This rack, I'm actually in my garage. I got my little space heater so I don't freeze. But yeah, I have a setup in my garage. It's my studio. It's everything, right? Like this is everything that goes on in my life. If you've been on Instagram, if you've been on YouTube, all podcasts get filmed in here. Everything's as optimized as I can get from my own garage to be able to create a fitness studio for filming and everything. But the Diesel Dad came out of the fact that like I just don't have the amount of time. So what happens? How do I align my life and my family and fatherhood without having to sacrifice any of it all at the same time? Well, what are my goals? As always, I want to be stronger. I'd like to be lean so that I look good naked, and I'd love to be athletic. Okay, so strong, lean, and athletic are the goal. And what am I not willing to sacrifice? Fitness, fatherhood, and family. So that's a pretty good tagline, right? For busy dads that want to be strong, lean, and athletic without sacrificing family, fatherhood, or fitness. I think I can buy into that. So over like the course of time, you start to recognize these little pieces of your life that change. Like I used to be able to sleep till 7 o'clock and wake up and do whatever I wanted to do. Well, guess what? Now, if I sleep till 7 o'clock, I go immediately into fatherhood. I'm immediately changing diapers. I'm immediately getting Adelaide ready for school. I'm immediately doing dad stuff or family stuff. And then what happens? Then I go right into business stuff. I haven't taken a single second to think about me or prepare myself for the day. So I started waking up 5:30 in the morning.
When are you getting your workouts in? And how
exactly, right?
Yeah, like and how often are you working out? Like 2 hours a day, an hour a day, or
this is the whole Diesel Dad. You're just leading into it so well. So I created this little thing that I just did on my own because I just needed like a check-in first thing in the morning. I called it the Diesel Dad 100. I really started calling myself the Diesel Dad because it was like a superhero that I created in my own brain. Like you mentioned wrestling earlier. Like wrestlers go and create this this character, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I like wrestling. I used to train with John Cena. I like him. And I was like, I'll just create my own little wrestling character. So I created the Diesel Dad. That's me. And it was it wasn't a product. It wasn't a program. It wasn't anything. But I would wake up at 5:30. Like I'm the guy in the neighborhood that when everybody walks by, you can see directly in here. They see that I have a painted wall. I built a studio in my garage. My gym is different than everyone else's gym. It's not just a barbell in a corner collecting dust. It's nice. Yeah. And so I always would make fun of myself that like I'm that guy. Like I'm the Diesel Dad. Like 99% of the day, I'm doing dad stuff. 1% of the day, I'm lifting a lot more weight than anybody else in this neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so I started waking up at like 5:30 in the morning. I called it Diesel Dad 100. Like I just got to prepare myself to go be the dad. So what do? I come down in the gym. I pick 2 random exercises. I do 100 total reps, and then I go back inside. If I have time to go for a walk in the morning, I'll take a little 1-mile walk just to get some fresh air and move a little bit, and then I'm good. That kind of became my morning routine. I'm at least a year deep into it, 5 days a week as a way just to prepare myself for the day. Then I go inside, I do morning dad stuff until 8:30, 9 o'clock when we drop her off. As far as like training goes, I've got a business to run. I got to be out the door to go pick her up. So we created a program called Imam Aesthetics, which is basically a training program that takes between 15 and 30 minutes, in which all that time that you waste in the gym sitting on your phone where you like do a set of 5 and then you sit and wait, you scroll Instagram, and then 4 minutes later you get back, you go do a set of 5. We just eliminate all that downtime by bouncing back and forth between 2 movements. So we'll go like back squats and then we'll go calf raises, or we'll go back squats and then bench press or something back and forth. So you just eliminate all the downtime, but you're picking muscle groups that aren't conflicting. So you're not tiring out your legs by doing an upper body. So it's a full body 20 to 30 minute workout. And we put it out last summer in the middle of the quarantine, and it smashed. Like it was our best selling product of the year by far. And we were like, oh, wow, there's a lot of people. And then what also happened like around the globe, but especially in our country, is people left gyms. They stopped going to gyms. So you have a bunch of people in their house building home gyms, and they don't have anybody to train with. They don't have a lot of time. Their family is literally one door away. They've got jobs, they've got kids. Everybody's in their 25 to 40-year-old range right now, living this same life. And we went after it. We said, all these people are us right now.
Yeah.
They're diesel dads. So it's been great. And, the fact that there's, you look at what has happened in fitness, and all the people that were in their garage or training really, really hard in the early 2000s, by the time CrossFit showed up in like 2005, 2006, it brought this like hardcore intensity with it. And it pulled all the people out of their garage and into CrossFit boxes. And then those people did that for 10 years. Yep. And it got us to like the 2015, 16, where they were just like, I'm done with this, man. It doesn't fit my life anymore. It doesn't like suit me and my goals. Life changes over a decade. Like you get married, you get kids. And with this new pandemic and quarantine and all that, people are back in their garages. And, it's great having a home gym and all that, but it brings family and business, and everything is like in the house now. So you need these like really efficient, effective ways to do your workouts. And you might have 20 minutes, you might have 30 minutes. And that's really how we put this program together. So we have a 15-minute option, we've got a 30-minute option, and then we've got the 1 hour long version if you've got the time to get up and get after it. But that's really, the tagline: strong, lean, and athletic without sacrificing family, fatherhood, or fitness. And our goal is to unite all the people that when they were 25, 27 years old, trained really hard, loved lifting weights, being around their bros, hanging out at the gym. And then all of a sudden it worked. Yeah. They got the girl, they got married, they got the kids, and then they got soft. And we're the people that are going to help them get back and not just like get you in shape. That's like level one. It's like getting that edge in life. It's people that work really hard and set their intent on being good at something, carry a little bit of a swagger, like an edge to life, to go talk to that girl, go make that sales call, go do the thing that other people won't do because they work hard somewhere and have developed the confidence. And you lose that when you get busy and you aren't training and you aren't working on you. And that really is our goal, is to, there's a massive population of people that knew why they were training or lifting weights in their 20s. And then you ask them now, like, why would you lift weights? And they go, I don't know. And then I don't know turns into 10, 15 pounds. Yeah. And a body that you're not proud of. You start having a bunch of negative self-talk. It's rough.
A lot of people need guidance, man. They need people to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people go into it uneducated. They'll go into GNC, or they'll go into Walmart where you have your new brands in there, your instructional videos, or we'll talk about that. But anyway,
totally.
They'll go into there and they'll buy stuff thinking, okay, this pill is going to give me muscles. I don't have to do anything. This pill is going to, help me lose fat. Everybody wants to be like The Rock. Everybody wants to look like Dwayne Johnson. But let me tell you something, man. Dwayne Johnson, he might take some stuff, but he works. You got to know what to do. John Cena too. John Cena, how's John now? Is he early 40s, mid 40s, or younger?
I want to say like 43, 44. Last time, it's actually really funny. The last time I trained with him, I've talked to him numerous times in between there, but the last time we lifted weights together on his 41st birthday, a video of him went like super viral, like TMZ all over, because he had just broken up with his like very public girlfriend at the time. And it wasn't like he was making a response video, but that's the way that the news media would like you to believe it. I was the guy holding the camera. I was like, what about the camera guy? No one cares about that big strong man. Old dude's 41. No, but those guys, They're very, very different humans. They work incredibly hard. It's very impressive to watch them do what they do.
Yeah. Oh, it really is. And talking about John Cena, man, I was listening to your podcast with John Cena on it.
Oh,
And that's a pretty
nice.
pretty funny story how you guys met. Hopefully I get it
Yeah.
right, but he was looking for a place to work out and he called your gym and he's a lunk, and
Yeah.
he was I think that was funny. You guys had a standoff
Yeah.
on the phone or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So I owned two gyms, and it is rather awkward that they were so close to each other, but they were both pretty small gyms, so it worked out okay. But he went to one of them, and we weren't at that one to let him in, and I was at the other location, and he called, or his girlfriend at the time called, and most of the time when people call your gym and they just want to do their own thing, and you're like, come on, just be a part of what we do here. Like, I know you're on vacation. Whatever you're doing, trust me, it's just a workout. Like, get over it. And if you come in here and you're off in the corner being by yourself, it's just, as a gym owner that's looking for like a cohesive family gym that everyone works together and everyone's on the same page, it's just annoying.
Yeah.
So he calls and he's like, or he like grabbed the phone. He's like, we'd like to just have a little bit of space. If we could just lift in a corner, that'd be great. And I was like, man, I don't know. That's just, we were like closed at the time. So I was like, all right, whatever. And he was like, this will make a lot more sense when I show up. And I was like, this guy's definitely not lifting weights in here now. And then in rolled a sick Range Rover, all white, everything, and like a really badass Lamborghini. And I was like, guys, I think like $500,000 worth of cars just rolled into the parking lot. Something is up right now. And walked John Cena, put on the shoes, and let's get to work.
Okay,
And
why two vehicles though?
I have no idea. I would imagine him and his girlfriend just rolled from separate places to the gym and said, meet me here. But they're super cool. It's not like I try to tell people, because it's really important as a part of the stories. I only lifted with like the wrestler, dun, 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 that guy. I only listened to him. I only like lifted weights with that guy one time. You're only allowed to do things like that one time, where you get to act like he's the big cool celebrity. From the second time that he walked in there, it was business. Like, I showed up every day that he was there. I showed up on Sundays. I showed up if he sent me a text and said, do you want to lift weights? I was there. And my job was not to be around John Cena, the wrestler. My job was to ensure that he had a great workout. My job was to ensure that I was able to read how hard he needed to be pushed. My job was to make sure the music was right. My job was to make sure that everything about that training session made him better at what he did, because I knew that if I didn't, I'd never, he doesn't have to train at my gym. He can go anywhere he wants. He can walk into anywhere. So if I slack off one day, I carried that pressure with me, that if I slacked off or I created an environment that didn't make him comfortable, he would leave. So I never did. And
so was he doing mostly CrossFit stuff?
No. He did mainly Olympic weightlifting training. He's had the same trainer for man, I want to say at least a decade, probably longer. Rob McIntyre. And yeah, just to be honest with you, like, even just talking about training with him doesn't really even do the relationship that I had with him justice. I don't know how much he learned from me, but the ability to watch somebody that is in the conversation of greatest of all time at WWE or just anything, it just happens to be the WWE, which is one of the biggest entertainment businesses in the world. To be in a room and watch that guy work and improve himself, and the way that it's like hard to describe sometimes, because I've watched him be around TV producers. I've watched him just be around normal humans. I've watched him the way that he positions himself when he goes out to eat at a restaurant and tries not to be seen. And then as soon as he stands up, 5 people stand up in a row behind him to take pictures, and it's 11 o'clock at night. And
Like,
he handles it with like the greatest, smoothest, everything. I've just never seen him have a misstep, even in the slightest. And the thing is that the thing that you learn is like, he's not acting. Because if you were acting, the asshole would come out. You would slip up. You would become a jerk at some point. So the only way to ensure that you don't become the asshole is to become the greatest person you can possibly be, where you're just endlessly grateful for the people that are around you, even if they're random people trying to get a picture with you. Even if it's something that's really annoying, you go, well, it's really annoying, but only because, I'm lucky enough to be in the position that I'm in to be able to influence people's lives the way that I do. Like, everything about that guy has been thought about and worked on, and it's incredible to just be around a human like that. Like here's such a great story. So we went to his house. I couldn't even tell you when it was, 2015 or something like that. From San Diego, we flew in a private jet all the way across to Tampa. Phenomenal. Only time I've ever been in a private jet in my life. And he has this fun little weightlifting competition in his gym called the 1-ton challenge, in which
I was going to ask you about that. The 1-ton club. Yeah.
So snatch, clean, jerk, squat, deadlift, and bench. You get 6 lifts to hit total at 2,000 pounds. And if you hit 2,000 pounds, you get your name on John Cena's door. So I obviously am going to go all out. I got a weekend at Cena's house. We're going to lift some weights. We're going to eat a lot of food. We're going to have a few drinks. It's going to be great. And ended up totaling 2,009 pounds. So my name is stenciled on Cena's garage door, which is really, really cool. And on top of that, I got to watch John Cena for 3.5 days, plus be in a private jet with him where nobody else was distracting anything, and just hanging out and watching and talking to the guy that is as great as I can, like, one of the greatest humans that I've ever been around. And so we got there like Thursday night, Friday morning, whatever, the jet landed. And then Friday we lifted weights, and Saturday we lifted weights, and we hit this milestone of 2,000 pounds. And we know that our names are getting put on the garage door, and life is so good. And I can't believe it. Well, that morning, I guess Friday afternoon, something like that, whenever we were training, I want to say he benched 500 pounds. I don't even know what the exact number is. So the next morning we're eating breakfast, and he's like super intense thinking about something. And he's like talking about this video of a 500-pound bench press. And I'm like, dude, just post the video. It's savage. Like, you don't just, and I'm like coming up with one-liner. He's just like, nah, but I really want to get this thing to be like seen by a lot of people. I'd love it if this video went viral, and like
he's a lot of Cena.
Yeah, like he's thinking about it way more. I would have just posted like, this is awesome. And he's thinking about it on like a very different level. And whatever he comes up with, I want to say he writes like, the average bench press for alignment in the NFL is blah, blah, blah. Well, this is 500 pounds, something. Hits post, blah, blah, blah. We go off to the gym. We train. Everybody hits the milestone, 2,000 pounds. Everybody's happy. We come back to the house. We go downtown. Steaks for everybody. Bunch of delicious wine. Everyone's partying, having a great time. And we come back, and it's game 2 of the World Series. I don't know what World Series. I can't really remember all the teams, but I know that's the World Series because as the opening credit, or as the show opener, this is how little sports I watch, by the way. I don't even know, but the opening like monologues where they're like talking about what's going to happen and the pitchers and all that.
Yeah.
John Cena at the World Series game 2 was the second story of the intro show. So they did like, here's tonight's starting pitchers. But before we get into that, here's a Twitter from John Cena bench pressing. And I was like, damn, dude, I was like right there. And you told me that you were going to make this thing go viral. And then right in front of my eyes, 8 hours later, you're the second story of the World Series. You've probably never played baseball in your life. But now here you are on the World Series intro show. Like, get out of here. That's so rad. You are so John Cena. That's incredible. So like we're out, we have a great night. Everything's awesome. The next morning I wake up and I'm like shaking off a hangover and whatever's going on. I walk downstairs. I'm just like looking for a cup of coffee. I don't even know what time it is. Probably 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I hear these two people talking in the kitchen. I'm like, damn, that guy's already awake. Like, who's in there? And I peek my head around the corner. Cena is up and he's showered and he's working and he's sitting there doing a Mandarin tutor session with his whoever his tutor is. So he's in there speaking Chinese Mandarin to a tutor practicing. And I'm like, dude, we were out all hours of the night last night and you woke up at like 7 a.m. to speak Mandarin? This is crazy. Like, take a day off, right?
Yeah.
Well, John Cena doesn't have time for days off. He's got time to go party with his friends. He's got time to do that. But tomorrow morning, the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. and you got work to do. So like 2 months later, I'm at work, back to my normal life. And like, you know what, like here and there, like very, very randomly, but you'll like pick your phone up and all of a sudden, like there's like tons of text messages. You're like, what the world happened that my phone is going off? Like, did someone die? Did something happen? Did I win the lottery? Like, why are all these people texting me all of a sudden? They're all texting me the exact same video. Cena is live doing a press conference in Mandarin 2 months after I walked in on him in the kitchen working with his tutor to be able to do this thing.
Completely fluent? Like
completely fluent.
Wow.
And I just had that, like that. It was a moment in my life that when I walked in the kitchen, I was the only person in the entire world that was able to see the actual work that went in. And then I got to see the thing. I got to see the final product. I got to see the work. I got to see that he was not sleeping in, that he was not letting himself off the hook. I got to see the why everything works. It's the hard work that nobody ever sees. And then a 4-minute press conference that goes viral all over the place, or all the time lifting weights. And then I got to see, him be the second story on the World Series coverage that night. None of those things are individual moments that are, I should say, they're all individual moments that everybody thinks like, oh, that's so cool. Cena got to do that. No, you don't get it. He had been working with his tutor in Mandarin for 4 years. I just happened to see one of the mornings.
Okay.
And then everybody in the world gets to see the 4-minute press conference. He's been lifting weights since he was 13 until he was 38 or 39 that day that he went viral and got on the World Series coverage. Mm-hmm. But he posts one video one day and everyone goes, oh, he's so awesome. Well, what about the hundreds and thousands of hours sitting under a barbell where there was zero coverage? Like, that's the story. That's really, so many people think that like, just because he's John Cena, famous things happen. It's not true. And I have a relatively expensive education, and none of it will ever, ever, ever top the 4 years that I got to watch that guy work.
Some people, man, they're just great influences, man. You see the grind and the work they put in, and it's mesmerizing. And you're like, wow, okay, if only I can achieve that in my life, I will be so lucky. And a lot of those guys, man, like Dwayne Johnson, he's the same way, man. Guys
when does The Rock sleep?
I don't know if he ever does.
I don't think he does.
Let me get back to the 1 ton club, man. So what are you guys doing? Are you doing bench press, squats, clean and jerks?
Yeah, so it's 6 lifts. The clean and jerk's actually separated into 2 lifts, so the clean, then the jerk. But you just build up to a 1 rep max, snatch, clean, jerk, squat, deadlift, and bench, with the goal of hitting 2,000 pounds. So there's many people that do it very, very easily. I've actually put a Instagram challenge out, and I've seen people get to 2,000 pounds in under 30 seconds, which is really crazy.
Wow.
I'm nowhere near that strong, but yeah, when I was down at his house, I think I cleaned 232. I cleaned 315. I snatched 232. I jerked 300, bench 275, 285, deadlifted 465, and I squatted 419 to get to 2,009 pounds. It's funny because 2,009 pounds sounds like I made it easily. It's like, oh, you had 9 pounds to spare. It's like 1 pound per lift, basically.
Well, let me ask you this, man. How old are you?
I am 37.
37? Okay. Yeah, I don't feel so bad now.
Oh, go ahead.
Being 45.
What?
Because
Oh, well, this one, I think I was 33 when we went down there 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Well, I was also reading on one of your websites. It's another link to like a lower back pain.
Yeah.
So you're like a lower back specialist too? Or you know how to like
I know how to
train
teach
to
people to
therapy?
move and get strong in the right places versus the wrong places. And many times dealing with pain is a very sensitive subject for a lot of people because there's a ton of factors that go into it. But I have found and started and sold a company around rehabbing low back pain, that if you can get people strong in the right places and also teach them how to breathe properly, that you can eliminate an overwhelmingly large majority of the problems and get them back to living a life of physical freedom.
Well,
And okay, go ahead.
No, let me ask you this. Let me tell you my story. This is me trying to.
This
be
is
that
why a lot
youngster.
of the back pain is wrapped up into the story. So this is good.
Oh, so at 41 years old, I went to a rock festival, and I was like, I succumbed to peer pressure. Everybody's like, "Come on, man, crowd surf." So
Yeah.
me at 220 pounds, they lift me up and they starting to pass me up. I almost made it. Then they dropped me right at the barricade. So I'm like up 6 foot and they dropped me right on my lower back.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, I thought I was going to die. They had to take me back to the tailgating spot. I laid there in pain, couldn't move. They got me back to the hotel. I went to sleep, woke up the next morning. Bam, I was fine. Partied the whole rest of the day. But since then, like I was so flexible. I was doing box jumps on like 30-inch platforms. Can't do them now.
Yeah.
Bending over and touching my toes is a feat.
Yeah.
It's awful. I just haven't found a way to be able to rehab my back. And I go to the doctor and they're like, your spine's fine. No bulges, no anything, So
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on. I might need to come see you.
Yeah, come and rage, dude. Garage is open. Yeah, I mean, I would start you in the same place that I would start anybody. And I would get you laying down in a really safe position and we'd learn how to breathe. And if we can learn how to breathe properly, like into your belly, breathe very deeply using your diaphragm, we could typically turn on a lot of the intra-abdominal muscles that protect your low spine. And this is a very oversimplified version of many people that are dealing with low back pain are, as I alluded to, very wrapped up into the story of all the specifics that are wrong with them. And one of the most important parts of just helping people is finding out what's right with them and doing more of that, and then expanding what people are capable of versus narrowing the scope of what they're capable of and telling them, don't do that. Don't do that. Why don't we find the things that you can do and then just get like a little bit better at those and let those ripple effects play out over time. So laying you down on your back and learning how to breathe properly everyone should be able to do that. And in doing that, we're able to deactivate a lot of the sympathetic nervous system, and you go parasympathetic, in which that's like your fight or flight versus the rest and digest. So it's not necessarily like meditation, but something along those lines. If we can just get you to relax and not have that like tense, I don't want to, I can't do that. I can't do, you're like stressed out about moving and angles and tweaking and stuff like that. And I can just get you to like breathe, just relax a little bit, calm down. Like everything's going to be cool. Yeah. That's step one. And then once you calm down a little bit, all of a sudden, a lot of the tension that's stored in our muscles kind of relaxes a little bit. And then through just a series of assessments and, scaling movements to meet you where you're at, we could very easily find a lot of things that you can do. We would find a lot of ways that we would be able to progress those. And it would be, in my estimation, a relatively easy process to get you more excited about the things you can do than fearful of the things that you can't do. And from there, we would just continually build on that progress. And it's something that's it's by no means easy, or is there like 100% guarantee? But most of the time, people are so focused on the things that they can't do and so wrapped up in the stories of why they can't do them, that if I can just get in and like get you to pay attention to the things that you can do, and then we just focus on getting a little bit better at those each time we train together, then the mindset shifts and you start to feel empowered by your success, and there's a lot of good that can be done.
Yeah. I would love to do that, man. Like this weekend I went snowboarding and I went down 2 runs on the bunny slope and had to quit, man. I was like, I can't do it. Like knees and lower back, it was like killing me. And I'd love to get to that point where I could go snowboarding with my son, and
there's also just like a ton of like biomechanical movement specific pieces. Like I've never seen you do a back squat. I've never seen you do any type of squatting, anything.
Yeah.
But unless you've had a coach or someone actually teach you how your body's supposed to move, it's probably, how about not just you? If anybody is listening to this that has ever experienced any type of back pain and they've never had a coach teach them how to move properly, there's an enormous amount of growth that can be done just by learning how your body is supposed to move. And that your hips, when you go to bend over, are supposed to push back. Well, that might sound so simple, but if you don't know how to do it, what ends up happening is you just bend over with your upper back, putting your lower back at risk. And you don't ever learn how to brace your core. Like we have this rib cage in our upper back. When was the last time somebody walked around there like, I've got a really sore upper back that just bothers me all the time?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
How many people complain about low back problems?
Yeah.
All of them. But the reason that the rib cage is so important and why people don't have upper back pain is because you've got a bunch of bones supporting that entire structure. But below your ribs, there's nothing. There's no bones down. So you have to create the bones. You have to create that rigid structure to protect your spine. And the only way to do that is through your abs. That's what protects your spine. And if you don't know how to properly brace your core or to be able to move and breathe into your belly, well, of course your low back hurts. Every time you bend over, you're trying to snap the twig. And it just over time, your body's going to go, dude, stop. Well, how does it tell you to stop? Pain. So if we can learn how to properly move our hips, how to properly, if you think about it too, like your spine is the only thing that really connects at your lower, your upper body and your lower body. It runs into your pelvis. So if you don't push your hips back properly and you just fold over, you're kind of taking that point right at your hips and just over and over trying to snap this twig. And sooner or later, L4, L5, S1 is going to be a big problem.
Oh,
it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I don't need big problems right now.
Yeah.
I mean, 45 still relatively young, so I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to.
You got at least like you're only in what quarter? You're in like your second trimester of life.
Yeah. So
you got another
get this fixed.
45 years ahead of you.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna probably take you up on that, man. If I ever catch you at home, and I'll talk to you offline. We'll hook something up. So let's get into what you've got going on now with Walmart, because you've got products now in like 3,000 plus stores across the country.
Not that many. That would be terrifying. That'd be awesome, actually.
Whoa. How many Walmarts are in the United States?
No, we are in Walmart out in San Diego, LA, Palm Springs, and Vegas. I'd love to be nationwide, international.
Okay.
But we are, Walmart's rad. Walmart happened in the exact same way that everything happened. John Cena told me to go do something. I listened to him. Next thing you know, I was standing over a barbell with somebody that I just thought was a friend that I had just made because he likes lifting weights too. And next thing you know, that guy that I was lifting weights with happened to be a gigantic fan of my show, Barbell Shrugged, and had been listening for many, many years. And he also just happened to be the merchandising director for Walmart in performance nutrition. And while we were talking, I was like, wait a second. You buy all the protein in the whole world for Walmart? And he was like, yeah, that's my job. And I went, well, why don't you have training programs next to the protein? That seems like a really easy cross sell. Somebody's looking for protein. They're also looking for workouts. And he goes, I don't know. Never thought about it. Why don't you tell me what it looks like and send me a prototype? I was like, I think I just pitched Walmart. Now what do I do?
I can't believe nobody had come up with that before then. I mean, it's like a no-brainer, you would think.
Well, think about all the people that have been in Walmart that have done it in the past. It was DVDs. It was Tybo. It was Beachbody. We're not recreating the wheel, but what happened was DVDs became obsolete and nobody recreated what the next thing was. So we are currently trying to recreate fitness at Walmart, and it's been an interesting process. It's really, really hard to make Walmart work. Like it's challenging. I don't know anything about retail, but I'm learning every day, learning a lot.
How long you been in there so far?
So we got in October. And so what is that? Like 5 months, 4 months? October, November, December, end of October. So 4 months. And we are getting on Walmart.com. Look, this is just a part of life right now. This is just like how everything in life works. You do one little tiny thing, it opens a little bit of a door. Sometimes that door opens to massive things. Sometimes that little door opens to little things. Sometimes those little things turn into massive things. So you just keep knocking on the door and hoping that it opens one day and that thing on the other side just works. Like what Walmart has really done is given us the opportunity to meet people that are in the retail space that actually know how to play that game. We will hopefully in 2021 be launching in Target, Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS with the exact same programs and doing it through their online distribution centers. We have an awesome product in that we are delivering ebooks, and we're battling against regular brick and mortar like hardcover books, which are typically sold at these stores. And look, there's no better time right now for fitness to be as inexpensive as possible. Healthcare is the number one topic of conversation of the last 11 months of our lives.
Yeah.
The only thing anybody's talking about is healthcare. Whether they're talking about COVID, they're talking about obesity, whether they're talking about pre-existing conditions. Like when you hear pre-existing conditions, there's that actually doesn't mean anything until you like label what those are. And for almost all of those people, that condition is obesity, in which their body is dying, and it's fighting itself day in and day out and working so hard to stay alive and keep that heart beating, because the body is just so insanely unhealthy and filled with inflammation. And if we can eliminate the obesity part, all of a sudden you're allowed to eliminate a whole lot of things. And I'm not coming in here saying I'm going to eliminate obesity. There's just an endless number of reasons why that exists. But due to socioeconomic demographics, there are reasons why obesity is much higher in certain places than it may be in, say, Apex, North Carolina. And the reason is like access to food and stuff like that. And where does that hit? It hits where Walmarts are. It hits where people need to find inexpensive resources that can make them better. And if we can be on the shelves at Walmart and really serve that demographic, sign me up. I want to do cool stuff.
And Walmart needs it because you've seen the People of Walmart videos, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I've also been to the brand new Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas, that looks like the Taj Mahal. Like you walk into it and you go, oh shit, I've never even been to something that looks like this. It's got a healthcare facility right next to it. It's got like an urgent care type setup. Inside that urgent care type setup, they've got personal trainers. They've got doctors. They've got there's space to host workouts. Look, I talked a lot earlier about alignment, and if you are the manager of a Walmart, you do not become the manager of the Walmart in 2021 without thinking about what you eat, without thinking about the way that you move, and thinking about the information that comes into your body and brain. Those three things are vital. The people that you surround yourself with, all those things are like very objectively viewed. And you think about who you surround yourself, what you're reading, what you're looking at, what you eat, how you train. You probably have a personal trainer. You probably have a specific diet that you follow pretty closely.
Yeah.
You probably aren't spending your time watching a bunch of trash TV at night. You probably read books. And then all of a sudden you go into work and the People of Walmart is what is being represented as your product. There's a lack of alignment. And there's only so long that the manager of a store can look at that, or the manager of many stores, or the regional manager, or the CEO of Walmart, or the board of directors of these people that are they clearly have their own training staff, and they're living a very great life and very healthy and thinking about these things very deeply. You can't live and have your business be that far out of alignment of what you believe to be right. So Walmart's making a massive effort right now in the healthcare space to change that perception. I mean, for the first time, I think maybe ever.
Yeah, good for them.
That might be but it used to be some like low prices daily, better prices daily. Something like that was the what was there? Say
it was like watch for falling prices.
Or falling prices. It was all about cheap.
Yeah.
And now the tagline, I want to say starting last year, they changed the tagline to save money, live better. And that live better part is a pretty big statement, and saying like we have to do something. And
good for Walmart, because they get their reputation as of being like, low class, always the little brother to Target. And good for them for upping their brand and trying to be more health conscious.
Yeah, they got to do it. I mean, you can't just because you are one of the largest companies in the world, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that the people won't say, screw you, we're out.
Yeah.
Like, you're not taking care of us anymore. And they want to feel like the people that they're doing business with care about them.
Yeah.
And retail's in a tough spot right now. So we're really excited about the .com side of things that we're working on right now. The fact that we're just even in Walmart is super cool.
Oh yeah,
And how
definitely.
the whole thing happened. I mean, I'm by no means going viral and getting on the World Series, but it's really like a testament to the way the universe works, and that when there's an opportunity for me to have a speaking engagement down in Bentonville, and John Cena's a part of it, and he thinks of me as somebody that can go down and do a good job, puts me in a good place to just go lift weights and do the thing that I'm really good at. Influence people the way that I think I can help them. And then next thing you know, I'm standing next to the guy that can get me on the shelves of Walmart. That line of just being consistent and trying to do good things in the world, I think just really plays out over a lifetime if you just wake up and try and do it every day.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Hell, maybe you'll be throwing the first pitch at a World Series here in a few years.
Look at
You
that.
never know. Hey, man.
You put it out there. You put it out there. I'll remember this.
Hey, but before I let you go, I wanted to ask you one more question. You mentioned diets earlier.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain diet you're on, or do you eat anything? And what's your feeling on carnivore versus keto versus vegan?
Rad. Such a good question, right?
Yeah.
I do not follow anything specific. What I do is I am keenly aware of the amount of calories that go into my body every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the highest priority, followed
What are you restricted to? What's your calorie count?
Right now in between 24 and 2,600 calories a day.
Okay.
And then a very close, most important second, like very, very close, is the number of grams of protein I'm eating in a day, which is between 150 to 200 a day. And after that, I don't really care about carbs or fat or how many of each. I believe that my body is flexible enough to be able to use both of them for energy. If I'm lifting weights heavy, I should probably have more carbohydrates. If I'm lifting weights less heavy and doing more conditioning, or like during rest days, I should probably be a little bit more fat dependent. But those two things don't influence much of my decision making. My thoughts on general diets are that the reason keto works for some people is that they like eating peanut butter. And if you're eating the peanut butter in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. What was the other diet that you meant? The carnivore?
Carnivore,
if you just really love eating cheeseburgers, and that's all you want to eat, the reason you're losing weight is not because carnivore is some super special secret sauce to weight loss. It's because you're only eating meat. Therefore, you're probably eating less, and you're in a caloric deficit, and you're going to lose fat. If you look at all of the diets that exist in the world, the only way, and this is, I am friends with, I talk to, I interview, I know them. I could text them all right now, and they would all just write the exact same 2 words back to me when I text them, how do you lose weight? And they would write, be in a caloric deficit.
Yeah.
Calories in versus calories out is the most important thing. The second most important thing is to ensure that you have enough protein so that you are rebuilding and repairing cells as they break down, and that you are not losing muscle mass while you are losing weight. You want to, this also gets into a lot of what people say versus what they actually want. Everyone wants to lose body fat. What they say is that they want to lose weight. And losing weight is not necessarily going to get you to the body that you are happy with, which typically gets people into a very bad cycle of bad dieting, frustration, depression, and then rebounding back to wherever they were before. They think that if they lose 10 pounds, that they're going to be happy with what 10 pounds looks like less on their body. But unless you're eating enough protein and doing some sort of weight training to maintain or build muscle, you are going to have a smaller version of the same soft body that you currently have. And that is not the goal. Everybody wants to increase muscle mass and they want to lose body fat. And anytime you hear, or I have to do this with as my job, but anytime I hear somebody say, I want to lose weight, you should stop them and you should say, what do you really want? And they will say, well, I want to lose this fat. And you go, oh, that's a much better conversation, because losing weight could mean you get your wrist cut off and you lose 3 pounds because your hand's gone. And I only say that as like the most extreme, ridiculous thing, but we have to be more aware of what type of language that we use when it comes to weight loss, because losing body fat is the most important thing. And the only way to lose body fat is to be in a caloric deficit and to ensure that you're eating enough protein throughout the day. So you can take it one step further and you go, well, how do I find out what my caloric deficit is? And there is no one size fits all, but we can guesstimate where you're at by saying your current lean body mass, which is your total body weight minus the muscle and skeleton. Like if you go to an InBody or whatever thing it is, or you could just estimate by some pictures online, find out what your lean body mass is and multiply that number by 10. That number is going to be the number of calories that you need to basically operate your brain and your body. From there, you have to find out what your activity multiplier is. So if you work out really hard, you need more calories just to stay exactly where you're at than you would somebody that lays in bed all day. So your activity multiplier is going to be fluctuating depending upon kind of like where you're at, which is why I say I'm somewhere in between 2,400 and 2,600. Because if you play the long game, that's probably roughly about where I'm at in a day. I'm relatively sedentary. I walk 4 to 5 miles a day, and I work out for 20 to 30 minutes. So you can, if you have a normal day for the average American that sits at their desk and works on a computer, you can really take that 10, or basically you're taking your body weight and multiplying it times 12. And that's going to be roughly about the number of calories that you need if you are somebody that has a relatively sedentary job, somebody that works at a computer, and then goes to the gym and works out 3, maybe 5 times a week. That is going to be your break-even point. So if you want, and that's called your maintenance calories. So your maintenance calories, if you would like to lose weight, you need to be under that number. So my number being roughly 2,500 calories a day at 195 pounds, you could basically call it 200 pounds. If I want to lose body fat, my goal is to eat very consistently under 2,500 calories in a day, closer to like 2,200. So you try to drop it down about 250 calories to speed up the process a little bit and not starve yourself so that you binge on the other side of when Saturday night rolls around. And over time, you can expect to lose roughly 2 pounds a week at that rate after your body starts kicking in. When you get to part 2 of the conversation of like, well, how much protein do I need? Then you start to look at number of grams per pound of body weight. And the closer you are to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, the easier it's going to be to remain at that caloric deficit. The real sweet spot is about 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight that you have. And the reason we push it up to 1 is because if I can get you focused on eating 2 pounds of meat a day, well, I don't have to worry about you eating carbohydrates and peanut butter and all these other things, because you're so full and so grossed out by chicken breast by the end of the day that the last thing you want to do is eat.
Yeah.
But when we are working out and eating that way, you are building muscle. Your body has the things that it needs in order to build muscle. You're repairing muscle. Protein is like the most important macronutrient for just ensuring our bodies are able to rebuild and recover the way that they need to from just day-to-day use and the cellular repair. So those two things, if we can handle those, be in a caloric deficit and make sure you're getting enough protein, do what you want with the rest. Enjoy the foods you like.
All these other carnivore, keto, basically those are good if you've got like autoimmune deficiencies or like carnivore anyway.
I don't think any of that.
No,
I don't believe in any of that.
Oh, because
I mean, okay. So what do you think's more important, being carnivore or losing 20 pounds?
Probably losing 20 pounds.
There you go. What do you think's more important, keto or losing 20 pounds?
Losing 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if keto is the way that you get there and everyone's doing tests on people that are losing 20 pounds, do you think it's the 20 pounds or do you think it's the fact that they eat peanut butter bombs from Slim Fast?
I've never had those peanut butter bombs, but I bet they're delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet they're awesome. I've seen them in there. It's the best product sold at Walmart in 2020.
I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan, and he had someone up there, Michaela Peterson, and another guy, her father, I can't remember his first name, but his daughter had like an autoimmune deficiency, and she got on this carnivore diet, and everything, her inflammation, everything went away. Her symptoms went away. So I don't know. I guess it works different for different people, man. Diets are different for everybody.
Inflammation is something that, being overweight is inflammation.
Yeah, it is. The heavier you are, the more your joints have to support. And
so losing 20 pounds, again, is way more important than only eating meat.
Yeah.
If you can lose 20 pounds in any way possible, then you should try to lose the 20 pounds. But if being carnivore is the way that you'd like to go about it, then do that. Find the foods you like to eat and eat them. And you're probably going to lose the weight, and it's going to make you a much healthier person.
Like you said, though, it's burning more calories than what you're putting in your body. That's how you're going to lose weight. Simple arithmetic right there.
Do you do one of those diets?
What's that?
Do you do one of those diets?
Man, let me tell you, I jumped all over the place. So I was on a 2,400 calorie a day diet through MyFitnessPal. I measured all my food and all that. I had everything done. I lost like 10 pounds doing that. It really worked. So then I went to keto. Keto worked too, but that's just hard to maintain. I couldn't maintain it.
It's impossible to have friends when you're on that.
Oh, and my girlfriend's vegan. So I went vegan for a month just to see if I could do it. Wasn't too bad, man. There's so many substitutes that taste like the real thing. So vegan wasn't an issue. I tried the 16/8 intermittent fasting for a month.
Yep.
That I really didn't see any changes with that. But after listening to Joe Rogan, I was like, man, let me get this carnivore, a chance. And now I don't know, man. I love steak. I could eat steak and chicken breast all day long, but I like rice too.
I always just go back to eating a really well-rounded meal of healthy things, and everybody knows what healthy things are. If you have a chicken breast, you have some rice, and you have some vegetables, you got your protein, you got your fat, you got your carbs, you're eating healthy stuff. You don't even have to really track those things. It's just healthy.
God, let me ask you this, talking about Cena. How much does he eat? Is he like The Rock? Like The Rock eats this ungodly amount of food every day. How about Cena? Is he like that?
I mean, the quantities are a lot, but the total volume, I would imagine, is I don't know what he's doing now. When I saw that Super Bowl commercial, it looked like he had lost like 30 pounds from when I was training him. I actually texted a buddy of mine that used to train with us too, and I was like, dude, what happened? Where did he go? So I don't know what he weighs right now, but yeah, I mean, he's eating. Look, there's nobody that looks like that. I mean, this is just the way. There is no shortcuts to it. If you're gonna look like The Rock, you're gonna eat 4,000 calories a day, and you're gonna eat, 300 grams of protein, and you're gonna eat 500 carbs, and every once in a while, you're gonna go smash a gigantic large pizza because you just are so good at burning calories, and you have so much just heavy muscle that just burns food up. Like, he can't keep carbohydrates in his body because his body just burns them so fast. Carbohydrates are like really, really simple macronutrients. They burn up quick. And he could eat them all day long. It's like his metabolism's running so high. He's got so much muscle. There's guys like that. They know everything that goes in their body, but they also are able to have a little bit of like freedom in that they're big, muscular, strong people, and it affects them different. Like, I mean, think about just think about how long those guys have been doing it. I've been training for 24 years, and I don't look anything like those guys, but you catch breaks by making really good deposits into the savings bank of health, strength, longevity. And the more you can deposit and make good decisions in the right direction, the harder it is to like really fall out of line, if that makes sense. Like, if you're putting $20 into a savings account every single day for 24 straight years, and then all of a sudden, like, you go and blow $1,000, well, it doesn't mean you went to negative 1,000. It's just you went a little bit back.
Yeah.
Like, you're that savings account is just built so high. And then you throw on a bunch of like genetic freakiness that those guys have. Plus, who knows like what really is going on to be. I don't even know. I don't even want to say that they're on anything, to be honest with you, because I don't think Cena's ever touched any of it. And I've watched him day to day just train and do the right things so much. So I can't even speak anything to The Rock. But just
he's
think
got
about
to be on something. I will. You don't look like that just from lifting weights.
The number of good decisions that those guys have made, stacked on top of each other over so many years, is different. Yeah. They get away with a lot more only because they're so much more strict. I have a buddy of mine that's good friends with Arnold, and one of Arnold's favorite sayings that he says to him all the time is, you've got to have a little bit of dysfunction mixed in with all that discipline. It's all right to go out and eat a big pizza one night, have a cigar, have a beer, just knowing that Monday morning you wake up and you get back.
I was surprised to hear that Arnold's a vegan. Yeah, that shocked me.
Yeah, see, and even Arnold's allowed to have a whole year of going backwards.
Well, Anders, if anybody wants to get in touch with you out there, how can we contact Anders Varner if they're interested in your training or any of your products? Yeah,
if you want to come hang out with me on Instagram, is probably the easiest way. At Anders Varner. My show, Barbell Shrugged, is at Barbell_Shrugged. We put out brand new podcasts every Monday and Wednesday. And if you are a dad listening to this show, one, please reach out to me so you're not just going to buy a product that you heard on the show. But send me a message on Instagram. But you can also head over to barbellshrug.com/diesel dad, DIESEL dad, all one word. Yeah, that's kind of like my pride and joy right now. The people that I want to surround myself with and coach and really help through this super fun, crazy, time limited time of life. Just being a dad and trying to be a great dad, great husband, and whatever you do for work with limited time, and we can still get you to reach all your fitness goals.
Yeah. Well, once again, man, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, this has been a real informative podcast. I've learned a little bit, man.
Awesome.
Thanks again for coming on, and hopefully, man, we can get you on again one
Yeah,
day.
dude.
And I definitely want to check you out, man. I'm gonna talk with you and see if you can help my back.
I dig it, dude.
Because I'll be using a walker here in about another 5 years if I keep on the track I'm going.
No way. We'll get you hooked up.
All right, man. All right, everybody. That's Anders Varner. Thanks again, brother. All right.
Alrighty.
You check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and you can watch us on our YouTube channel. Get us wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. I promise you. All right, this is Mike, and we'll see you on the next episode of Hammered. Peace.